Hey everybody, it's Art with the NintendoKnights podcast. I'm joined here once again with my co-host Joe.
Hey guys.
Today is a very special episode because it is the Nintendo Switch's birthday. The Nintendo Switch is 3 as of March the 3rd.
Happy birthday, Switch.
All right, so this episode's just going to be basically based around the Switch. We're going to talk a little bit about the console, some of its games, some things we like about it, fond memories, things like that. So let's get going. First off, how are you doing today, Joe?
I'm good, man. Just got done playing some Breath of the Wild.
All right. So the first thing I wanted to talk about real quick is the Switch sales numbers. Now, I don't know how up-to-date these numbers are. I did pull them straight off Nintendo's website, but I don't know when the last time they update it or how often they release sales numbers are.
Yeah.
But right now, the Switch is sitting at 52.48 million, according to the Nintendo website, consoles sold.
Which is just an incredibly impressive number. I mean, that's all. I'm so thrilled of the success that this console is having.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So just for some perspective, that puts it at the third best-selling home console by Nintendo. The Wii is beating it with 101 million sales. The NES with 61.9 million sales. So it's likely that it'll pass the NES this year and make it to the second best-selling Nintendo console, home console of all time. It just recently passed the Super Nintendo, which had 49.1 million sales. It's now well above the Nintendo 64, which was at 32.9 million. It's more than doubled the GameCube, and it's at this point like 5 times the Wii U.
Yeah. Hell of a bounce back from that console.
Oh, yeah, for sure. If you have any doubt, look at Nintendo's stock for like the past 5 years. You know what? Just for the heck of it, let me pull that up real quick. All right, I am going to pull up a 5-year return. And let's see, 5 years ago, their stock was $14.25. 5 years ago would have been like peak Wii U time. And right now it's $43.79. So from 14 to 43.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah, so they've definitely had a huge bounce back. And it's great to see, of course, being huge Nintendo fans. We're happy that they're having a ton of success. Not only that, the Switch might be my favorite console of all time. It's just amazing to be able to play all these games on the go or on your TV. It's a great concept, and I love it.
Yeah, it really is fantastic.
So now I wanted to talk about game sales for the Switch, and we'd talk a little bit about these games. I don't know if you've looked at my notes yet, but if you haven't, guess what the best-selling Switch game of all time is?
I already know, and it's a doozy.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a shocker. It's actually Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Like, it makes sense. That game deserves it. It's a great game. But this is insane. It's sold 22.9 million copies, which means 43% of Switch owners own this game. That's like an incredible percentage. The best-selling PlayStation game's probably nowhere close to that. I bet it's at like 5%.
It almost doubled the number of Wii U's sold, which is just hilarious. I just pulled it up too, and funny enough, more than 8 million copies were sold for the Wii U. Over 50% of Wii U owners had Mario Kart 8.
That's actually insane. And so really Mario Kart 8 has sold about 30 million copies counting that, which is
incredible.
An incredible number for
a game. You have both, you know.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And I assume that a lot of people do because, of course, if you had a Wii U, you had Mario Kart 8, and you probably have a Switch now.
Right. I'm sure a huge percentage of those 8 million who bought it on the Wii U bought it on Switch because, let's face it, if they supported the Wii U, they're probably Nintendo fanboys like me.
Yep. And it is a nice upgrade.
Oh, yeah, it was totally worth it, even if you already owned the game. Just to be able to play it on the go. They fixed battle mode, which was a big deal because battle mode really sucked in the original. Yeah. And then you got all the DLC along with it. Like, I was happy to pay the full price again to
And
have
I
it on the Switch.
forgot how many tracks they added. What is there, like 16 DLC tracks?
Yeah, I believe there's 16. There's 4 new cups, over 2 DLCs. So yeah, 16 tracks, 2 characters. I think only 2 characters. Um, and then a cart for each of them, cart glider and wheels for each of them as well.
And they added Link, which I love so much. I want more Zelda characters in the next one.
Right, and that Animal Crossing map I loved so much that the
Oh,
season changed
yeah.
on it. It was also a huge tease on the Wii U because they kept releasing all this HD Animal Crossing stuff. So
Hmm.
we are like, all right, Animal Crossing is coming soon. And then, of course, as we know, it was not. But it was like our first real taste of HD Animal Crossing, and it looked great.
Yeah.
Well, now it was worth the wait just based on what I've been seeing for New Horizons. So
Oh, I know.
So, of course, as no surprise to anybody, the second best selling Switch game would be Smash Ultimate. It's now the best selling fighting game ever, which is insane.
Yeah.
Um, because I'm fairly certain Street Fighter 2 has held that title since like the 90s. So it's finally breaking that record. I mean, what to say about this game? It's a great game. When they said everyone is here, literally everybody's here. There's so many characters.
Yeah, they marketed this game so well.
Yep. 8 player Smash. Get some local friends together and get 8 people on the screen, and it's just insane. Always a good time. Always
Yep.
hectic. I was recently playing. Actually, I just recently bought a house and had a housewarming party, and that's the first thing we did was busted out Smash. Got 8 people on there, and it just gets so hectic. Like it's hard to win, but it's just so much fun.
Hmm. And
That,
I stand by that the GameCube controller is still the best way to play Smash Bros. But I will give it to the Joy-Con. I do not mind playing with a Joy-Con.
yeah,
Actually, a pretty solid, very simple controller to use.
I will say the Joy-Con for me, I know some people have complaints about the size and everything. For me, is a well-designed controller. It fits my hand pretty well. I know there's been some problems with the Joy-Con drift and the
Hmm.
joystick. I haven't had that yet, so I'm thankful. But from what I understand, there's still not really a solution in place from Nintendo. So that's one downside we have about the Switch. They will fix yours for free, but it doesn't. It seems like the new Joy Cons are still having problems.
Yeah.
All right, so the third best selling Mario Odyssey, um, awesome game. Uh, Not sure it's the best 3D Mario there is, but that's a really hard, title
Yeah.
to live up to. There's so many great ones. Like I couldn't even tell you which one's the best. You ask people, and everybody will give you a different answer.
Absolutely.
You
And they're
know,
all justified.
yep. The nostalgic types will give you Mario 64. I know a lot of people say the Mario Galaxy games are the best.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know if I'd say it's the best, but I'm super nostalgic about Sunshine. I'll defend that game to the end.
Yeah.
So this one's a lot of fun. It looks great again in HD. The worlds are all super well designed. New Donk City's awesome, taking Mario to basically New York.
Hmm.
Um,
And the graphics are super charming as well.
oh yeah, it's just another. It's classic Nintendo. In 40 years, this game will still look good because of the way they've designed it
Yeah.
and just what the graphics currently look like. All right, so number 4 is Zelda Breath of the Wild. And of course, Zelda Breath of the Wild also released 3 years ago. It's its birthday as well. That's at 16.34 million sales, which is still a ridiculous number, by the way. Like,
Yeah.
no other manufacturer does this.
Yeah, it's really incredible. And I'm a little salty that Mario came out a year later and has had more sales, but just dude, selling over 16 million copies is insane.
Oh, yeah. As a reference, the best selling PS4 game of all time, according to Wikipedia, is Uncharted 4, and that's at 16 million as
Wow.
well. Um,
And there's like 100 million PS4s
yeah, that's what I was
sold.
just about to check. Yep, 108 million PS4s sold. So like the percentage is so low.
Yeah.
You're at a basically 10%, not quite, but close enough for government work. Whereas we're seeing 40% plus adoption rates for games on the Switch. It's just ridiculous. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when you have all the top five best selling games on the Switch are all better selling than the best PlayStation 4 game, it's
Yep.
pretty insane. Even
And
if it's just by a couple 100,000.
they're all Nintendo games too.
Oh, of course, 100%.
Yeah.
Um, so number five, well, let's talk a little bit about Breath of the Wild. I know we've discussed it before, but obviously great game. I'm actually surprised it's number four on the list and not
Me
higher.
too. Because as a launch title, I'm sure it's sold as many copies as Switches were selling, you know?
Yeah, I remember. We'll talk a little bit about launch since we might as well. It's the Switch episode. I did not actually get the Switch on launch. I was a little strapped for money and decided to go against pre-ordering it. Mm-hmm. Then I regretted that because once I got financially stable again or whatever, I was like, okay, I have to have a Switch. And I actually ended up paying extra for it from a scalper because you couldn't get them anywhere.
Yeah.
So I had to order it. But because you couldn't get it anywhere, there was this crazy thing going on where for the first couple of months, Breath of the Wild Switch was outselling the actual Switch console. I remember it was like Nintendo sold more copies of Breath of the Wild than it has Switches. So it was just crazy, like, because what they were doing, people were buying the digital version as well as the collector's edition. People were buying it just anticipating that, hey, I'm going to get a Switch eventually. So yeah, like at launch, everybody, also, launch titles, there weren't that many. So everybody was getting this game.
And they pushed this game so hard, as they should have, and as they deserve it to do because of how fantastic of a game it is. But I mean, there's just no scenario where I see someone picking up a Switch at launch without getting this game.
Oh, 100%. And heck, today, 3 years later, when you buy a Switch, you should be getting this game. You're doing yourself a disservice if you're not giving this game a try.
Absolutely.
I've said it once, I'll say it 1,000 times. I am not even that big of a Zelda fan. I know being a huge Nintendo fan, that's weird, but like I always like Zeldas, but I don't really like playing them. I'm more of I'll watch Zelda, whatever. I put like 150 hours into this game. You don't have to be a Zelda fan to enjoy this game. It breaks away from the formula enough. I know some hardcore Zelda fans don't like that about it, but you can't find a single one of them that will tell you they don't like this game.
Yeah, it's incredibly captivating, impossible to put down. Looks beautiful. It's incredibly fun. Oh, it's so fun.
Do yourself a favor, pick up this game.
Yeah.
And so this one, it's only about 200,000 off of Mario for the number 3 spot, Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
And then below that, and this is why I had the disclaimer earlier that I'm not sure how up to date these numbers are, because I thought I read that this game actually sold 20 million. But number 5, as of the last time Nintendo updated their website, is Pokemon Sword and Shield at 16 million.
Which is
16.06.
Massive. I mean, that's insane. And it's totally understandable. I get it.
It's insane because this game just came out in November. So, like, it's the fastest selling Nintendo Switch game so far.
Yeah. But people have been anticipating a good console Pokemon game since the GameCube. I mean, we've never really gotten one.
Yeah, I'd really even go farther and say that, like, since the N64 and the Pokemon Stadium games, those were better, in my opinion, than the GameCube ones. So people have been waiting a long time.
And I know,
I know there was a lot of controversy, around the game. There was some things that people were mad about, but me having played it, coming back to Pokemon after not playing since Generation 3, I really enjoyed this game. So my last Pokemon game before I stopped playing them was Ruby. And I already mentioned I'm not much of a handheld gamer, so I didn't play another one until Sword and Shield, and I thought this was a great way to get back in. And Yeah, it had flaws. I'm not going to say it's a perfect game, but it was plenty of fun and definitely worth a buy.
But are you at all upset at the speed of the first DLC? Like, do you feel like they just withheld content?
No, I see some people saying that too, but I may be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure this is almost the exact release schedule they used for the Breath of the Wild DLC. 6 months later, and then a year later.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see the fuss so much because I believe it's coming in June. So really, you're talking 7 months after the game. There's the first DLC.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's a healthy break to say, hey, they're obviously working on this still. And
Yeah.
also, like I said, I didn't play the most recent Pokemon game, but I don't feel content wise that this has any less content than any other Pokemon game I've played. It surely has more content than Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. And I know those
Yeah.
were remakes, but people aren't nearly as mad about that. So for the
Yeah, and
most part, no, I'm not concerned.
as far as like RPGs go, and say what you want, like Pokemon is pretty much like a turn-based RPG. They're short games,
Yeah.
you know. They've always been relatively quick to beat.
And here's the other thing. Pokemon fans since the beginning of time have been literally buying a third game since there was no DLC. Like you have Red and Blue come out, and then they release Yellow, which is basically just DLC for Red and Blue, except you have to buy
Mm-hmm.
the whole other game. And they've done that for literally every generation since until now. So like, you want to buy another $60 game or pay, and you don't even have to get the DLC if you want. But uh,
Yeah.
one thing I'll always stand behind Nintendo for, well, unless they change it, is I think they are usually very fair with their DLC. The
Yeah.
pricing is fair. It feels like they're giving you extra content that like didn't belong in the game. Like this is going to be a whole different map. Like so no, when I played the game, I never thought, oh, feels like they're holding content away from me.
Yeah. Um, yeah, they do. They are very fair with their DLC. I agree with that. But they never drop prices in their games, like ever.
Oh,
Breath of the Wild's still $60. It'll
no,
probably be
it's
$60 until.
they are very much like the Disney of video games. There's like there's this whole thing with Disney where people say they only raise their prices to get into the amusement park because they want less people to come because they're overcrowded, so they want to make it so people can't afford it. It's not that they need to raise prices, they're making enough money. Nintendo's kind of the same way. They're releasing a premium product. They want you to think of it as a premium product, and they want you to realize. So if they were selling, if they said Breath of the Wild is now $20, they're basically saying they don't think it's worth $60 anymore, where 100% they think this is a premium game that's worth $60. And
Yeah.
as much as I sometimes hate that, I don't disagree with them.
Yeah. It honestly makes me so excited for the sequel, dude. 3 years later, like it's just gonna be so much. I'm even afraid to say better. Like, how can it get better?
Oh no, I know. I'm so excited. Um, I was reading a little bit about Breath of the Wild. I think we're about to delve into some more Breath of the Wild, which, hey, it's okay. Uh, I'm a huge Xenoblade fan,
Yeah.
and they got the Xenoblade staff to come help design the map for Breath of the Wild. And when I read that, I might have even read it before, but I just recently read it again and it just clicked with me. I was like, that makes so much sense because they're known for like how they're big, beautiful worlds that they build in their
Hmm.
games. And they did a great job with Breath of the Wild as well. Um,
Yeah, because when DLC 2 came out, they were starting like the marketing campaign for the new Xenoblade game, and you could get the armor in Breath of the
right.
Wild.
Yep. Yeah. So that was like the little cross promotion they did. Um, Even though I think that's a first party studio now, it's Monolith Soft that makes it, but I'm pretty sure Nintendo bought them. I think Nintendo owns them. They're not like a second party.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, even still, so that was just a cool little crossover and it just really clicked with me. Like, yeah, they did a great job building that world in Breath of the Wild.
Oh yeah. I mean, the attention to detail is just incredible.
All right, so let's get a little negative for a second. If you had to choose one thing that you would change about the Switch or one thing you dislike about the Switch, what would you choose?
I don't I don't know if this is really a dislike or even a critique, but one concern I have is its capabilities. It's not quite as powerful as the PS4 or Xbox One, and those days are gone. Like they're already moving on to the next console. Um, and there's really been no plans for a new, and I want the Switch, like, I like the Switch and I want it to stay for a long time, but um, I'm a little concerned about how well its capabilities will stand to the test of time in say 5 years. And I'm sure there will be a Switch 2.0. That's my guess for, like what their next gen quote unquote console will be. Will just be an upgraded version of the Switch. Um, but and it's, don't get me wrong, it's still incredibly impressive that a game like The Witcher can even run on a Switch. But I think that's my main concern is just um, how long it can be viable with like the processing power that it has when everything else is going to level 1 million. The new Xbox is basically just a computer at this point. um, so they're just really taking things to the next level.
Yeah, definitely. I actually have quite a few conversations about this subject with some of my other friends. Um, my theory, what I think is going to happen with the Switch, because I don't see Nintendo moving to a new console anytime soon. I think they're going to treat it a lot like the DS, where you're going to see
Yeah.
multiple iterations. Like you had the DS, then you had the DS Lite, then you had the DSi, then you had the 3DS and the 2DS, 3DS XL. I'm pretty sure we're going to see basically that when it's all said and done. There's going to be like 10 different Switch models. Um, the only thing I'm hoping is for their next one, because I'm not sure I ever see Nintendo going 4K, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But it still needs to be a lot more powerful. Like, even if it's just 1080p HD, as long as it's got enough RAM and enough computing power
Hmm.
to run these new games in 1080p, like developers will keep making them. But there's going to be a point where it doesn't have the computing power to run these games. And that's when there's going to be an issue. Because, like I said, the Nintendo Switch has now outsold the Xbox One. Like, developers want to make games for this.
Absolutely.
They know it's a money making machine. So, like, but Nintendo's got to be cognizant of the fact that eventually it's going to be too much work to dumb down games to work for the Switch.
Well, let me ask you this. Well, you know what? I take it back because I think that'd just be too complicated, but maybe not. Do you think that there will ever be a console only Switch where you can't take it into handheld mode, kind of like there's the handheld only that could play a lot more powerful games? Because they could, obviously, that's one of the biggest crutches is the ability to play every game in handheld on the go.
Yeah, I don't see them taking that route for the Switch. Um, but I think there will be a more powerful one, but I think it's still going to have the held
Yeah,
ability.
that
I don't I don't see them. I really don't think Nintendo's ever going to try to get back into the traditional console market. They swung and they hit gold with the Switch, and I think this hybrid market that's working for them, I think they're going to try to stick with at least for as long as it's a thing. They've never tried, well, since the 90s to compete head to head with Sony or
right.
Microsoft, and I don't think they're going to start anytime soon.
And yes, like people want to develop games for the Switch, but guess what makes money for the Switch? Nintendo games. We just said our top five, and out of those, it's like 80 million games,
Oh yeah,
all
100%.
Nintendo. So, they're making games for the Switch that are made for the Switch, and they're doing incredibly well with it.
Yeah, I mean that's always been the number one pusher of uh, Nintendo consoles. It's Nintendo makes awesome games.
Yeah.
Sony and Microsoft can't figure out how to do it. They can't make exclusives that good. They have a few every now and again. You can pick a handful off either console. That's a great exclusive.
Yeah, imagine your best exclusive ever being a first-person shooter. Like, I'm sorry, but Halo's just that's just so unimpressive.
Right.
That's what Microsoft brings to the table as a first-person shooter.
right? Where every time Nintendo releases a game, basically it becomes an instant classic,
Yep.
multi-million sale success. Even their underperforming games overperform like every other game ever, you know? Like
Yeah.
when you consider, 5 million sales or whatever is low for a Nintendo game, that's still pretty high for basically any other studio.
Yeah, it's their numbers are insanely impressive.
Yeah. So if I had to choose something I dislike or my least favorite feature, it would be the online. And I want to go ahead and clarify it's not paying for online like a lot of people. I think just the NES games and Super Nintendo games they offer are worth the subscription. The subscription is
Hell yeah.
cheap. Yeah.
It's super cheap. That's incredible. But
It's
go
like
on.
$20 a year or whatever. I think I
Yeah.
pay like 35 for the family plan. It's 100% worth it just for those games. My issue is that I hop online and I see you're playing Animal Crossing and I'm playing Animal Crossing. I can't shoot you an invite. Like I have
Yeah.
to text you or call you or get your friend code. Like, and then I can't just send you a little quick message. Like, how do they not have these features?
Yeah. Um Pretty sure PS2 online was more advanced.
Yep. I read something about how Animal Crossing just can't figure out voice chat. And it took me back to the Wii. Do you remember voice chat on the Animal Crossing for the Wii?
Yeah, we speak, dude.
Yep, they included We Speak, which for you younger folks was a speaker that sat on top of the sensor bar on top of your TV, like across the room from you, and it just picked up all the sound from the room, and that's how you voice chatted. And now, having learned nothing, you have to do it through your smartphone rather than just building. And the thing is, like Fortnite on the Switch has voice chat. You just
Yeah.
plug up your microphone so you can do it, but they just don't. Like, come on, Nintendo, come on. So that's the one thing I'd like to see upgraded or changed at some point. They need to just overhaul their whole
Yeah.
online infrastructure.
Um it is a bit ridiculous. And I know that's both a shared concern that we have about Animal Crossing too, is the app, the phone app that you have to use to like communicate.
Oh yeah,
Like we've said, we'll probably just call each other.
yeah. Let's face it, we're gonna hop in a PlayStation party and play Animal
Yeah.
Crossing, or we're gonna call each other. We're not gonna use the app,
Yeah.
So definitely it would be beneficial for everybody if they could figure out how to solve that.
Absolutely.
And it's really not that hard is the thing. Like everybody else has figured out how to solve this. So Nintendo, the geniuses over at Nintendo can definitely do this.
Yeah.
There's just always some pushback that they don't want to for some reason. And I think it's partially trying to stay child friendly or whatever, but I don't know. They just need to add voice chat
Yeah.
messaging online features. So what would you choose on the opposite end of the spectrum? Your favorite thing about the Switch?
Honestly, I gotta say this is basic, but it's the thing that has captivated me from the start, and it goes back to like seeing these Breath of the Wild ads in like 2015, and um maybe it was later than that. They really didn't announce like what the Switch was gonna be for
Oh
so
yeah.
long. It was the NX, and you just knew like that Zelda was gonna come out. But man, when the handheld mode is incredible, and my first playthrough of Breath of the Wild, I was almost all handheld mode, and it still blows my mind that you can play these games on the go. Like it's so cool, and I mean, there's nothing else like it on the market. It's incredible.
I
It's
actually
by
read
far my
this.
favorite.
I read an article the other day that blew my mind, and you just reminded me of it. It said that 80% of Switch owners play the majority of the time in handheld mode,
Wow.
which blows my mind because I play the majority of the time in TV mode, almost 100% of the time. Like, I'll only play really go handheld mode if I'm really into the game and I have to run to the bathroom or something. Then I'll just
Yeah.
grab it and go handheld. But like, I prefer it on the TV. But it just goes to show that like I'm by no means the majority. Like a lot of people They say the majority of the time they're paying their Switch, it's in handheld mode.
I bet Marquise, who is our 10-year-old nephew, I bet he's never plugged it up to a TV, not one
Yeah,
time.
I mean, that's true. So I'm going to go with a little bit of a weird pick for my favorite thing about the Switch. I'm not even sure it's my favorite thing, but I think it's worth talking about, so I will. I chose the Pro controller as my favorite thing about the Switch. This is my favorite current gen controller. It fits my hand so well. Like, I think this controller is just designed so well. The buttons all feel great, the joysticks feel great, and like the fit in my hand is just perfect.
They are incredible controllers. I totally agree that I love that controller, man. It does feel so nice.
Yeah, super comfortable. Just a ton of fun to play with.
Yeah.
All right. So now I want to get a little off topic just for a second because, we try to stick majority Nintendo, but there has been an interesting thing I've been reading that I kind of wanted to get your opinion on and just talk about. So it's pretty much known that the next gen consoles are going to come out either this year or early next year.
Mm-hmm.
I've been hearing that if this coronavirus doesn't get resolved, that they may have to push it back just because they can't get enough created.
Really?
Yeah. How crazy would that be if they had to just delay the launch of the console?
Yeah, I mean that is a nightmare for the developers. I mean, it's one of those things that you just it's I mean impossible to forecast, and they do so much planning and forecasting to launch something like this. And an epidemic like that just is never in the forecast of like something that could go wrong. So I think it would be detrimental.
Oh yeah.
Seriously bad for Sony and Microsoft.
Yeah, and I thought it was worth bringing up real quick because on top of that, Nintendo's already announced they're having trouble getting enough Switches. So there's already some shortages in Japan. And if things don't get worked out, from what I understand, in the next month or two, there's going to be shortages in the United States.
Wow.
And so you may not be able to find a Nintendo Switch on the shelf in a couple months.
Yeah.
So it's just pretty crazy to think about. Very crazy how much we rely on China for all the manufacturing, and really the whole world does.
Absolutely.
All right, so continuing with the Switch talk, what's your favorite game if you had to choose one?
Breath of the Wild, easy. Breath of the Wild, all the way. Still is. Yeah, I mean, it's no question for me. I love that game so much.
Yeah, this is really hard for me. I don't know that I can easily tell you a favorite game on the Switch.
Yeah.
I want to say Breath of the Wild might be mine as well, but let's put it this way. If we chose just the game I put the most amount of hours into, Xenoblade 2. I love that game. I played it through New Game Plus just because I liked it so much. But Breath of the Wild is probably a close second, and I had a lot of fun with that. So I really like that game too. But then on top of that, Smash Bros is very close in there too, and I have a ton of fun with Smash Bros.
I think Smash would be my number 2, but it's a comfortable number 2. Like for me, Breath of the Wild soars above.
Yeah.
But,
I don't think Pokemon's even close to my number 1, but it's worth saying that like I'm only missing 2 Pokemon in my Pokédex. Like I'm gonna complete the Pokédex in this game, and I've never done that in a Pokemon. Like there's just so many fun experiences to have on this console. Actually, you know what my favorite game on the Switch is? Animal Crossing New Horizons.
You know what's sad is I believe you.
I already know it.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
Yep. All right, so I think that's pretty much wraps up what I wanted to talk about the Switch. There's a few more things I wanted to discuss real quick. Luigi's Mansion multiplayer DLC just came out, I believe, today. So yesterday, by the time you're hearing this, it gave 3 new costumes for Luigi, only in the multiplayer modes, mind you. So there's Mummygy. It's Luigi as a mummy. There is the Green Knight, I think they called it. Something like that. He's a knight. And then there is Groovygy. and he looks just like Elvis. If
That's
you
great.
haven't seen him, you have to look at him. He looks awesome. Um, so then there's like that multiplayer mode where you go through the tower and just clear out the ghosts. It's kind of like the normal game, but multiplayer.
Yeah.
They added themed levels to each one of those themed floors that matched the different outfits. So now there's medieval floors to match the knight Luigi, the Green Knight. There's Egyptian floors that match the Mumiji. And then there's like 50s themed with neon lights and like disco ghosts for Groovigi.
I'm looking at him right now. He looks incredible.
Yep. And then they added a couple new games as well. There's a new dodgeball game that looks like a ton of fun.
Yeah.
You suck up the dodgeball and then spit it at the other people. Like, we're going to have to get into that and play some of that. There's a new raft riding game, which I'm iffy about because I think in the main story, riding on the raft on the water was like my least favorite part. But this one's basically like there's obstacles coming at you. You have to dodge them while you collect the most coins. And then there's a new game mode where you have to compete against your friends to catch the most ghosts while also not getting shocked by electric tiles on the floor. So if you end up getting shocked, you lose points. If you catch ghosts, you get points. And that looks like it could be a lot of fun as well.
Yeah. But I don't like how the costumes are only only online. Like, why set a limitation like that? There should be like a new game plus where you can choose a costume, because I would totally play this game again just being Groovigi.
Oh, 100%. I think you're right. Like, and since the model's already in the game,
Yep.
like, why not
It's just that simple.
make it single player? Oh, for sure.
But yeah, it looks like a nice collection. What's the price point on that?
I think it's free.
I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah, I'm actually not 100%, but I'm pretty sure it's just a free update.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, so there's no reason not to get it.
Absolutely.
All right, so the last thing I wanted to discuss before we wrap up here is just a few new Animal Crossing features we've spotted at PAX. So the first thing I want to talk about is Kix seems to have some new items. Some people spotted him selling leggings.
Oh.
Yep, as well as like messenger bags, backpacks. So yeah, he's going to be more than just a shoe salesman, but leggings was the big one I saw that we hadn't seen previously, and he's selling them. Then
Very cool.
There was a picture of some new fish that you could get. Looks like 2 different types of turtles you can now catch. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, pet turtle would be nice in my house.
And then something I think is awesome. There's now a feature to toggle the camera when you're outside. And you can actually zoom it so far away that it actually looks more like the GameCube camera angle where it's kind of top down.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that. So if you want to play like nostalgic, you can zoom it out and it just looks GameCube-y.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the world wrap where it kind of rotates. So I probably will play in that mode. That's awesome that they added that.
Yeah, and you still, I mean, like the world wrap's still there.
Yeah.
But it's not as pronounced when you like pull the camera all the way out. Yeah, that's like the best way I could describe it. But yeah, it looks more like the GameCube. Then, of course, this makes sense, so I'm not surprised to see it. Now that you're going to have a Nook phone, Nook is also going to sell you Nook phone cases. So there's different design cases to really customize how your phone looks when your character has it out.
Yep. No surprise there. That's cool. Whatever. It's kind of whatever. But more customization is
right.
More
Another thing to
customization.
customize is never a bad thing.
Yep.
This one's kind of cool. Something they spotted, or I've spotted in a screenshot. Welcome mats. So now, in the entrance to your doorway, you can throw down a welcome mat. Of course, there's area rugs, so it basically works the same thing like that, except it says welcome on it, or there's ones with little designs, but they're only 2 tiles. There's even a screen where they've got like a little kitchen set up. There's a stove and a sink next to each other, and they've got a little comfy mat in front of those.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's very nice.
Yeah, the customization in your house is just going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
The other thing I saw is you can now create patterns like in the old games and apply them to your face. Um, there's transparency now in patterns as well. So like what I've seen people saying is like you could design freckles and apply them to your character.
Oh,
Or if you have like a mole on your face, you could potentially design one that fits right on your character's face where yours is, or all kinds of other stuff. I
that
saw
makes sense because I swear I saw someone with a little goatee.
you did. That's been confirmed, only it hasn't been confirmed yet if there's that I know of anyway, if there's actual facial hair or if that's what it
Yeah.
was. He just drew the goatee. So it may be that that's the case. I know I saw one from some trailer I watched where there was like paw prints and they drew it on their face. And I don't know, it looked weird. Paw prints don't really go on your face, but again, it's just a little bit of customization.
I'm going to draw a teardrop on my eye for every animal I murder.
Oh my goodness, that's what that grave came from. So then messages.
Pull up, Mitzi. What's up?
Mitzi. Message in a bottle makes a return. This time you can attach items to it as well. And if you remember, those were only in Wild World. You could buy them from Nook. You basically wrote a message and then dumped it in the ocean. And if you were connected to the internet, chances were, or that it could just wash up on any random other Animal Crossing player that was connected to the internet as well.
Yeah.
Wash up on their beach. Now they can attach random weird items to it too.
That's very cool.
Yeah, that's always something cool. And then the last thing I've got here is that there's been confirmation Blathers requires 15 donations before he will officially open the museum.
Okay.
So once you get him 15 items, he will go ahead and open the museum for business. I don't know if it'll be like the full museum we've seen or if then you'll have to kind of upgrade the museum and get it bigger.
Yeah. You know, an expansion type thing I would not mind that. Give me as much to do at the museum as possible.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like a little small museum that you then gets bigger and bigger as you donate more stuff. That'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
It'd give you even more reason to keep donating. And it just give you another thing to work for. So I'd definitely be into something like that.
I can't believe how good it looks. Wow, that was never in my wildest dreams. Like,
oh, I know.
It would be like that. Oh my gosh.
And dude, here's the thing, man. We are down to 2 weeks and 2 days till this game comes out.
Yeah.
I'm getting so hype. Speaking of, I think we'll go ahead and wrap up the podcast here. I do want to just say I have pre-ordered the Animal Crossing Switch console. We are going to be doing an unboxing of it on our YouTube. So if you haven't subscribed, go over to the NintendoKnights YouTube and subscribe. That'll be posted next Friday. That comes out on the 13th. Oh, it's going to be Friday the 13th.
Ooh.
But yeah, that comes out. We're going to be posting a video as well as some other content. We're going to be posting some Animal Crossing videos throughout the week. And then, of course, there's going to be gameplay videos after that. So definitely come check us out over on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter if you haven't. And, thanks again for watching the podcast, listening to us, hanging out with us. Joe, any last thoughts from you?
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody for hanging in with us. And also, just shout out to the Switch. Happy birthday. Obviously, it has just added some major positivity to our Nintendo-loving lives, and here's to many more years of it, man.
Well said, man. All right, guys. We'll see you next time.
Catch you later.